Bull camper in the right place at the right time.
Joe Woes, touchdown Miami!
All right, welcome back to Out to Pasture, presented by Edmore Sawgrass Auto Mall. Joe, it's nice to be back in the studio here, our so-called studio, and get a little control of everything. But it's been great being at the Dolphin practices, the joint practices, both in Chicago, in Detroit. Saw a lot of good, bad, indifferent, and trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
But all in all, let me tell you, it was a long goddamn trip, Joe. 11 days there, and you're flying back and forth.
I flew back and forth, but I got to tell you, Bo, first time I've ever seen, I'm guessing it's never happened before in the history of preseason football for the Miami Dolphins, was 11, 12 days on the road between Chicago and then Detroit. But I will tell you, being on that team plane is a much better way to be.
Well, man, I'll tell you what, I said, so Goldie, Goldie was on the plane, and we got to get there early. You got to get there early, and they kind of want the freeloaders to get on first,
right?
And then have the players come on. So we get back there, and since the team has got so many players now in the preseason, we were relegated back to steerage. Those last, I count them.
I remember those years,
and I even counted last 5 rows, 2, 4, 2, or whatever. 40 people back there. I go, okay, well, at least we're in the wrong, but we're in the front of that back part, so we still got a little room before they boot us off the plane. But I'm gonna tell you what we said, and the plane was delayed a little bit. It was hot as hell, Joe. It was one of those days, summer day, and I'm trying to.
The AC's not working in the back of the plane.
But it looked right behind that little wall one there. It's cold can be. It can be.
Right.
So I'm sitting next to Goldie, and I'm like, look, I'm on the plane. I'm happy, and Goldie's sitting there. Oh. And I'm trying to I'm not trying to listen because Goldie's sweating his ass off over here, and I don't want to catch sweat.
Right,
how if you don't think about it,
right.
So I'm just sitting there going, I go, Goldie, we're on the plane, bro. We're on the plane, and he's going, this
is going to be a lot better than this.
And so that was, but then so finally we got up in the air and it was all good. And so I'm sitting, have you ever traveled with Goldie?
No, I haven't.
So I'm sitting on the plane, and I'm, me, I got to take my iPad out. I'll try to read a paper. I'll play backgammon. I'll play chess. I've been doing this for 8 years.
What's the game that frustrates you the most, or we hear you screaming and yelling when you?
That's backgammon.
Yeah,
that's backgammon.
The thing seems to win a lot.
It gets. Well, you know what? I'm way ahead. And the guy gets 2 doubles back to back, and you don't have to fuck with this. Really? Look, I used to throw stuff.
Oh,
I don't do that anymore.
You're a maniac.
Now I'm a little cooler and calmer.
Okay, good.
On that. So because now I go to I go to chess, which is I got a little app. I got the Out to Pasture app. Where you play the game, and there's a guy and says, and if you make a bad move, he goes, oops. And you go, oh shit, I got to bring it back now.
Yeah,
got to bring it back now and figure out how to do it. But so anyway, so I'm watching. So I look over Goldie and I'm going, what the hell's he watching? And I'm going, okay, what? And it's like if you had a 13-year-old daughter.
Yeah,
I know
I've had 13-year-old daughters.
Yeah. I've had 13-year-old daughters. It's one of these summer movies where it's these these young kids that the guy's got curly hair and got the abs, and the girls in the bikinis, and it's certainly a movie or a show. It's a show where episodes. It's certainly a show where Goldie shouldn't be watching that.
Yeah.
So we get up off the plane, and I didn't even say anything to him because I'm just going, okay, hey, whatever you want, brother.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, Brooke that still works for the Dolphins. Oh, Goldie, you're watching my show. And then some other girl jumps in. Oh, did you see what Sally did? Well, Goldie goes, well, Jimmy didn't. They shouldn't have done that to Jimmy, So Jimmy, and he is all in on this show. And you got to give him some shit next time you see him.
Because I didn't know
he
that.
is all in on a teeny bopper, bubble gum, and he couldn't wait to see the next episode.
Well, no, because they teased him for
and
more. I would have never guessed that.
And on the plane back there, these teams now, they got a lot of social media presence in there.
Yeah.
So they kind of sit back with us, guys, girls, and everything. Every girl in that plane by the time we got off was talking to Goldie about, hey, did you see what happened 2 episodes ago when Billy, kind of backed out from Sue and got someone,
I thought the guy worked all the time.
That was a little bit of an experience with Goldie there, but getting back to the let's get back to the team a little bit here now. You got one preseason game to go. You got a joint practice this week,
right?
With Jacksonville. And then you got a week off, and you go and this team, like I said on the broadcast, and I got chastised for it as being an old man, and what our great producer said was a very out to moment statement. The Pasture moment was, I said, this is like watching Smokey and the Bandit. You got a long way to go in a short time to get there. And I got ripped about that.
Yeah.
Someone.
I thought that was kind of a nice shot.
I thought it was apropos. You only got a couple more weeks now, and then you kick it off for the real. So that's the thing. So at this point in the preseason, how would you determine what you feel like the team needs to do and has got down pretty good? If there is one.
So no. There's some good parts of this team. Yeah. But this cornerback thing that you just got to see the Lions receivers one-on-one. Now, listen, receivers supposed to win one-on-one. There's no help, and you run all over the field.
Yeah, but that Lion group is
that Lions group, that whole skill position group they have with the 2 running backs are tight end. Those 2 wide receivers are special. Yeah. There's no question. But yeah, I think we're all a little concerned about the cornerback position. And Mike might be right. He defended them the other day and said their technique, you don't see all the other stuff that they're doing right. And we love this group. And Mike puts a positive spin on everything. So I completely understand that. But I am worried. And I don't know if they're good or bad. There's just not a lot of experience, or you've got some guys that other teams let go that haven't had a lot of success that are now being asked to play in this system. Bo, you got to see it. Hey, I hope the team's right, because they're still saying this is our group in the secondary that we're going with, and you're like, okay.
Well, so just on the surface, coming into this training camp, your best cornerback coming into this training camp was Kader Kahu,
right?
Undrafted free agent.
Yes, clearly your best.
Clearly, player. And then you're thinking, okay, Storm Duck, undrafted free agent. He'll.
I thought he'd be one of the starters.
He'll fit in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden Kahu goes down, and all of a sudden, I'm on the broadcast. I'm going, well, Duck's a lock. You got another undrafted free agent in only his second year as your stud.
Your number,
in that corner.
Your number one guy.
And now you got Ethan Bonner and Kendall Sheffield on the other side.
And I think Ethan was winning that job.
Ethan was winning that job.
Right.
Another undrafted free agent.
From the year before.
Right. 2 of them from the year before. And they're your cornerstones. And look, I thought Duck has been playing pretty well. I thought Ethan Bonner, that battle between Ethan Bonner and Kendall Shepard was kind of back. Sheffield, was kind of going back and forth. But it was always seemed to be Bonner being the first guy. They would switch reps within the first unit. He may, Ethan may do a few, and then they throw Sheffield back in there to get some. So I knew it was tight. But Ethan was always now he pulls a hamstring. Joe, and a hamstring in this league, to me, is a 3 to 4 week proposition.
Could be. We don't know if it's a tear in there or he pulled it, but he's a speed guy.
Even if it's a pull.
And he's a fast guy, and fast guys, hamstring doesn't work. I mean, you got to have that thing at 100%. Yeah. So now that's a concern going into the opener of what they're going to do. Bo, I think most people, except the team, of course, and they're staying positive on the guys they have, and I understand that. I think they got to go out and get another guy, whether it's pick somebody up, find a disgruntled guy on another team. Yeah. The team calls and says, hey, would you be interested? And it's a guy you can handle, but we got guys better than him, and make a trade, or you're going to have to pick somebody else.
Look, we're not even broaching the safety position. Now, Minkah Fitzpatrick, no problem there. You're good there. Then next to that, you're going to have a guy in there. But I'm with you. What happens when you go to nickel and dime? That thins out that group that's in there now. So I'm kind of on the thought process of you is that there's probably a couple guys that aren't on this roster right now. They're going to show up once final cuts are made.
Yeah. So before Ashton Davis got hurt, and now he's out for a while. He got hurt early. Well, I thought he was going to be in there, and I thought they're going to play three safeties. We're going to end up playing at some point. Fatu also in there. They like him a lot. So now they got to get creative with some of the things. I think they're going to blitz a lot when it's said and done. I think they're going to we're not worried about the back end. We're going to put pressure on the quarterback. I love the defensive line. I think everybody does. I think it's deep. I love our young guys. Our draft class actually has performed really well, from running back to guard to all the defensive tackles. It's gotten off to a nice start.
Yeah, it is. But it's so to me the danger areas are secondary, particularly corner, tight end, because that tight end, look, we've seen Tanner Conner a lot more than we had before, and he's done some good things, got some balls.
Right.
And I think he's bulked up a little bit. And he's blocking. He's attempting to block and do that. But I still don't see, you got Julian Hill, you got Farrell Brown. You got to have – and so Waller hasn't run a route yet as of this broadcast.
This got to be a week that he comes back.
And so he's got to get some. And you'd almost think he'd need to get a little play in the preseason game, because he hasn't played for a year and almost a half. And you got to get, you can run routes against air all you want, or against a defensive back that's not going to rough you up.
Yes.
You got to get some of that going in. So like again, it's a long way to go for him, but he's only got a short time to get there. So
yeah. And listen, they're on the cautious side.
On that for a while.
No, they're on the cautious side of everything right now.
Jerry Reed. It was a song. Actually, I don't know if anybody knows that. And first of all, they got to be country guys to know it was Jerry Reed.
That's a good one.
Right?
That's true.
And then it was like maybe, 10 years ago that show came out, Smoking the Bandit, about a decade ago.
Yeah, been longer than that. Okay. It's been a long time on that one.
Back to where we were. Where were we?
So we're talking about this team. The other area that I'm concerned with still, even though they played great in the last game, I thought the backup offensive lineman's pass protection was great.
Yeah.
Bo, do we have a backup tackle? Are we strong enough? By the way, when's Eichenberg coming back?
Yeah. I think you look at Keon Smith. I think he's one of the guys out there.
I don't know about Keon Smith yet.
Well, I don't know either. But look, we're talking about the second group. I feel pretty, if Austin Jackson's able to come back, and hopefully he's there for week one, I feel pretty good about that offensive line. Now, Jonas Savaianaya still has a little bit of work to do, but he's just seeing –
he'll be fine.
He's seeing these things he's just seeing moves and stuff for the first time. And I've seen where a guy's beat him on something, and the next time the guy tries the same thing, he may – he makes his adjustments.
Yeah.
And I think the guy that to me, the stud on that Patrick Paul is a stud. I mean, he is a stud out there.
Yeah. Everybody, by the way, even guys playing against him are saying Patrick Paul's he's a handful.
Yeah.
He's grown up a lot faster than everybody thought. You've been on that, by the way.
He's a real guy.
Week.
He changed his body during he kind of,
stayed around the whole time.
Stayed around the whole time.
Yep.
And he's a guy, evidently, he talks to everybody about how do I get better. And the Teron Armstead certainly was a mentor for him last year. And the fact that he got a lot of playing time, to me, the thing that it was good for him was that he got a lot of reps last year and got it on tape so he could work and get better at it.
Not that you want to play your third and fourth tackles, but having him last year in the position he was in was really beneficial for him. There's no question about that.
So let's kind of move off the team per se and Mike's philosophy and what you've seen out of that so far, because I've seen in practice, especially in the joint practices, I think Mike in his own way is trying to toughen the team up a little bit. I think we've seen I think in some of the training camp you've seen.
He went to Detroit for 2 practices. That's all you need to know.
So first of all, he said as soon as he found out they were playing the Bears, he got on the phone with Ben Johnson and said, we want to have a joint practice with you. Next call was to Dan Campbell and set up joint practices there. So he's not taking the easy street in. And so I think that to me was certainly premeditated to get those teams in practice against them. But I mean, even before that, watching training camp before they went to Chicago, I thought the tempo was faster than it was last year.
Yep.
I thought the intensity was magnified a little more than last year. And if you've noticed, Mike has gone around. Mike was usually always with the passing game. Now Mike's going down to the offensive line. Mike's going to the defensive line. He's going to the line. He's going to every individual group and spending time with them and putting his stamp on it. Now, what does that equate to moving forward to the season? Is it going to be is it going to be the Detroit Lions? It's not going to be the Detroit Lions. Is it going to be the Chicago Bears? Well, look, if that game, there was a lot of infighting in that practice, joint practice, and a couple of those skirmishes kind of during the game. And I think Ben Johnson's taken, because he just came from Detroit, trying to instill that in Chicago.
So let's start on Mike McDaniel. First of all, he wasn't happy with the chemistry of his team a year ago. No. And by the way, it had nothing to do with football games. It had to do with camp.
Yeah.
Guys staying together, good, bad, all the things you go through. He didn't feel like it was a close team. And you've seen the changes they made and who the guys are that they felt were a problem, and they're not with the team, most of them. So I start with that because he always brings that up, that these guys, good times and bad times, let's stay together.
Yeah.
One of the guys, that's part of the bonding trip for 11 or 12 days of the building chemistry and all those things. Second thing you said, I totally agree with. He got after it a lot more in practice. His practices look different. And the other thing you said, he was no longer just the head coach / head of the offense.
Yeah.
He got out and made it a point to see what's going on so that he's up on everything. He's getting around more and not spending just so much time with Tua. And I felt he's done a really good job of getting out there. Now the question is, and this is the most important one, how good's your football team?
Yeah, well,
this stuff all sounds great.
Yeah.
He's made some changes. It's all good. But how good of a football team do you have?
Well, that's the question. You got good parts. You got a really great front seven, an outstanding front seven. Your secondary, and we talked about that. But again, so now how do you transit? How do what you did this training camp? How do you look when you open against going up in Indianapolis?
Yeah.
And open up? What are we going to see? That's when the rubber hits the road. Because look, we've been through enough training camps ourselves. We've been to enough training camps watching them, and you see good things and bad things in the preseason. And once the season opens, it becomes a very different dilemma for coaches, players, when it's 100. Especially these days when you're not hitting as much during training camp. To me, it takes first month of the season really to get where tackling is good. Although, I got to say, the tackling this preseason has been pretty good.
It has not been bad at all.
I mean, usually you see a lot of missed tackles, so that's encouraging. But like you said, so all those pieces you can talk about pieces, but come that opening day, it's got to become one team and see that finished product.
So there's a lot of different things. First of all, this first game. And we're still a few weeks away. This game against the Colts is one of the most important openers for this team. Look at people don't think much of this football team outside of a few Dolphin fans nationally. People don't have a lot. I think you got to get off to a good start. You got to get road wins anyway. Colts are a team you've got to beat. They're sitting there. They haven't figured out who their quarterback is yet. You've got to win that game. And I just think it's huge. I think it gets them off to a good start. They get some belief jumping on that plane coming home for the Patriots for their home opener. Well, I can't put enough of importance on as there's going to be on that opener on the road against the Colts.
Again, the first month, I mean, you got an opportunity in Indianapolis. You come back and you play New England. I think New England's an improved football team on their offensive line. And I think they got a bunch of free agents that are pretty good players. But I still think that this is a game that, you got to win that game.
Yeah, you got to win.
Then Buffalo, you got to. That's going to be, that's going to be tough. Then you got the Jets. They're trying to find their way in that. So if you can jump off to that now, I don't want to be called Mr. 7-0 again.
No, don't do that. I'm not going to let you do 7-0.
I wipe that off. But I think 4-1 is a 3-1 is a reasonable start to the first 4 games. Now after that, let's see where the chips fall.
So I wanted to ask you about something else too that's popped up the last few days. The Dolphins, some were surprised. Judon,
Matthew
who's
Judon,
out there, veteran pass rusher, been a good player, 72
been a Pro
sacks.
Bowler, right?
He's been a real good player.
Yeah.
The Dolphins signed him.
Yeah.
And everybody's going, wait a second. We got a couple good young pass rushers. Yeah. What's going on here? You got 3 first-round picks on the outside, and Chubb and Phillips and Chop. So why are we doing that? They're going to trade somebody. No, they're not going to trade anybody.
No.
They're getting depth.
Yeah.
There's 2 of those guys that the last 2 years have been injured and not able to play. Matter of fact, Chubb missed all of last season.
And Jalen Phillips.
And Jalen's been injured last 2 years with 2 terrible injuries, an ACL and an Achilles.
And look, to me, you hate to say they're injured, but it's no fault of their own. It's just things happen. And
nobody gets hurt.
And unfortunately, so unfortunately, but you have to.
You got to add depth to the position.
So the other thing too with Judon to me is okay. You got some young, some other edge rushers out there that have been doing pretty well, and you don't want to retard the growth of Chop. Let him continue on going. So where does he fit in? And look, I know there's so I know there's a lot of fans out there that hear, oh, that guy Judon, what he's great. Well, he had 5.5 sacks in the last 2 years. I mean, each of the last 2 years. So it's not like he's going to be a 10, 12, 13. Now look, Jalen Phillips, if he's healthy all year, he could be a 15-sack guy.
Well, they're going to rotate those guys.
Chubb could be. Oh no, and that's going to be a big rotation.
They're going to have some snaps taken away from it. It's about getting through. It's not just about September, October. It's about having these guys healthy late in the year when we have struggled, and we have struggled as pass rushing
So the point being, Matthew Judon comes in as a insurance policy in if the guys that have been injured, in the last couple of years get injured again, right?
Yeah.
That's it. And that's that to me is the only way to frame it.
My
concern too, though, is you bring him in, it's going to bump one of those young guys that's been doing a pretty good job in the preseason.
You can't keep everyone.
Yeah.
And you got Quentin Bell, who was on the roster all last year, Grayson Murphy, and Derek McClendon, who's had a nice camp.
All those guys aren't going to stay there. Maybe one of those guys will be there. I don't know how that's going to work out.
Well, I looked at those other guys, and maybe they're not as high on them as everybody else.
Well, they're high on them. They're high on them, believe me, because I've heard the coaches talk about them.
But they're high on everybody when they talk. No, seriously.
No, I get
last time somebody said, "Hey, by the way, we got him on the roster, but we're not believing it."
I get it.
So anyway, we'll find out what they're going to do, but I don't think there's some big trade coming with any of those 4 veteran players.
Meanwhile, let's turn the page. I spent. So we went to Chicago first, and then we went to Detroit, and so Goldie and I have a good friend of mine up in upstate Michigan, a beautiful home right on Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
And so I said, Goldie, why don't we just, instead of flying over with the team, which probably we probably got to work. So let's go up to my friend's house and stay for a couple of days. So over the weekend, or the early part of the week, I was in the car with Goldie for probably 11 hours.
It's a lot of time with Goldie.
11 hours, and we never turned the radio on. And I don't think the conversation lapsed any time along the way. So, and there's Goldie. I love Goldie. You love Goldie, but he's a lot like me, a lot like you, a lot like my wife. And I can't speak for your wife. It's one of those. Hey, you're a little hungry? Yeah, like I said, yeah, I can stop. Oh, I mean, I could stop too, but we couldn't stop. If you don't want to stop, you don't stop. It's just, first of all, you get that. And then it's like, well, where do you want to eat? You want to go to McDonald's? He goes, I like to go to Taco Bell. Okay, we'll go to Taco Bell. Well, yeah, but if you don't want to go there, we go. So it's just, it's kind of this.
Yeah.
But so we're going down the road, and our first thing is, hey, where do you want to stop and eat? Right after we figure out how to get where we're going, and we're on the road, and so we pull in down there where it's like a big stop there. It's got a big gas station, got fast foods. It's a one-stop shop for weary travelers on the road. And we were weary travelers at that point. So let's go, we'll stop and we'll look at the food. We go and walk in the food. Let me tell you what, Joe, it was, I'm not going to say disgusting, but it was that far from disgusting.
The food was that bad looking?
I think maybe we were a little too hoity-toity for that group, both Goldie and I. So we decided, let's move on to the next one.
Do you have your Dolphin shirts on, both of you?
We did, because we had just come from the game. And so now we're looking for another place to eat. Every place. So then we stopped. And this place looks pretty good. It was a chain, and I'm looking at the grill area, and I'm around the restaurant business a little bit, and I'm going, the grill looks a little greasy to me. It looks a little black, a little charred, and a little greasy. The people standing there waiting, they go, hey, just to let you know, we've been waiting here for a while. And he looks at the other guy and goes, he was there 10 minutes before us. None of them had gotten their food.
Oh my God!
So Goldie and I bail out and go and go down the road again. We stopped at 3 places before we felt comfortable, and so we ended. I will name this place. You ever been to a Culver's Burgers?
No.
They're out of Wisconsin. Really good, really good. It was like when you walk into Disney World and you see that Main Street, you go, wow,
yeah,
this is awesome.
Right.
It was like that when we saw. Look at it. They had multiple people working.
Yeah.
The drive-through worked.
Back to normal.
The drive-through worked. Young guy comes out and delivers some food to one car, and he comes back by us, and he sees Goldie's Dolphins. Oh man, I'm a big Dolphin fan. I said, no one around here is the Dolphins. So he goes, oh, you got a Dolphin fan? Yeah. So now he goes to pick up another, and he couldn't. I mean, he was so happy. I mean, he thought he saw Dan Marino.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking to him. I go, Goldie, we need to give this guy something. I get my flip card from the game.
Yeah.
And I gave him I took my credential for that game, and put it on there and gave it to him. And that guy, you'd have thought I'd have gave him, wow. a 17-0 undefeated football or something.
Yeah. Wow. Talk about.
And I tell you what, the food was good, man.
Yeah.
So milkshake.
You went old school.
Couple burgers and on the road. So then we go up to my buddy's house up in upstate, and man, it was fab. Right on Lake Michigan, and then Goldie's. I learned a lot about Goldie. He likes cherries a lot. He likes cherries a lot. I
worked with Goldie for years. I had no idea.
And Upper Michigan is like famous for cherries. So he was in heaven up there. You know what? It reminded me of like where I grew up, where you grew up. Main Street was Main Street. That was the name of Main Street. And we're driving down there. It was like a slice of Americana. You had the little small movie theater. Yeah. You had the ice cream stores. You had all the little stores.
Had that as a kid.
And it was kind of a resort area because you're right on the lake. It was a really, really a good break. So yeah, it was.
You had a lot on your mind today.
I had a lot on my mind, but and then we got to Detroit. Then
you got a lot of shit.
Then we got to Detroit.
This fucking trip never ends. Fuck Goldie.
Well, I'm not gonna get to the hotel in Detroit. I'm not even
that place alone.
I'm not even gonna. So I'm gonna end the trip with this. I'm not going to broach anything about that hotel. All I'll tell you is that I never walked on that carpet without my socks on.
It wasn't that bad.
I'm telling you.
Stay in that same hotel with you, man.
At least the bed sheets were nice. Yeah, but I didn't walk. I took my socks off when I went to bed because I don't sleep with my socks.
I think you told me you and Goldie were sleeping.
No. But I did, I didn't. I didn't realize that Detroit. Yeah. I didn't realize that Detroit. They have. Chicago is famous for their hot dogs. Detroit's got they've got Coney dogs, which I've never had a Coney dog, and so there was a place there where it was kind of like Philadelphia, where they got the 2 cheesesteak guys, Pat's and whatever the other ones are right next door or across the street from each other. These were 2 right next to each other. So the last day I meandered down there, and I said, well, I got to try both of them. So I got 2, and so it's a really good hot dog itself. Chili, cheese, and onions, both of them. So I had 2 at one. I go, well, I'm gonna get 2 at one. I'll go over and get 1 at the other one, but I ended up getting 2 at the other one. So I did a 4-dogger, and then went back, and so that's and then we went to the game. So that's kind of the end of the story. It was just I could have probably sat here for another 5 hours and throw some more tidbits in there. But I think I'm getting wrapped up by.
Hey, I got to tell you.
You know,
you got everything off your chest.
You know what? The only problem was me and Goldie. We really had a nice car, but we weren't driving a car from Ed Moore's Sawgrass Auto Mall. You know,
no, you weren't.
No, we could if we did, we could have got a nice Cadillac. By the way,
Caddy's nice.
I just got a new. I not only did I get a new Cadillac, I got an electric Cadillac. I went electric on this one.
Man, I didn't think old school you would do that.
It's beautiful. I tell you, Seth Levitt, our producer, he has an electric car, and he's the one that convinced me that you're going to love it, and I do. It's really nice. Wow. And I tell you, those Joe, those you bought in cars from there. You got how many? What do you bought? 8 Chevy Tahoes from them? You get the same. That's
a 2025 right out here. You get the same
car every time.
I do, same black one. Yep.
Yeah, every time.
And the Buick, we got the Buick at the house,
and they got GM. They got all in one spot.
They do.
Cadillac, Chevrolet, Buick.
Everybody goes there. They give you a great deal, and they bust their butt. And the experience from the service department, showroom, they are great people. And then Teddy's like the hugest Dolphins fan in the world to start with.
But I'm sitting there talking to those guys, and this guy came in. And I'm talking about celebrity. This guy came in. That guy came in. Everyone goes there. And look, I would certainly tell you guys that if you're down in South Florida, that's I couldn't recommend them more highly, from service, from sales to the way they treat you. Unbelievable.
Good people.
Yeah.
Been around a long, long time.
All right, Joe, we're going to wrap this thing up. Let's we'll get ready. We'll be back next week, and we'll talk about I think we'll do something a little later after the
Are you done telling stories? I don't mind, but you're not going any more Goldie stories, are you, on that?
I might pull some. I might there may be some remnants left of that.
All right.
Afterwards. All right. We'll talk about it next time on Out to Pasture. Thanks for joining us. It was a trip.